presented by Thomas J. Henry Law.
There are a lot of ways to define courage. For me, courage is like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. And the grace exhibited by our Courage Award winner is something to behold. Courage can be found overcoming a sudden and traumatic event, or conquering a lifelong condition in ways the rest of us can't even imagine. What makes this athlete truly amazing is that they shared their very difficult, very personal story in order to help the next person who has the same brutal hill to climb. They found a way to turn courage into something shared, something inspiring, something beautiful. And the recipient of the Courage Award for the Austin area is
Caroline Dill of Dripping Springs High School.
If you had to describe Caroline in one word, what would it be?
Determined.
Tenacious.
Energetic.
Sunshine.
Caroline Dill just wrapped up her sophomore season, but the Dripping Springs goalkeeper is already one of the best in the state of Texas.
When we're on the bus, going to games, and all the girls are getting pumped up or whatever, she will be in the front watching film.
Kind of like the quarterback.
What a stop by Dill. Talk about reaction time, there it was.
You can never look nervous. You always have to show up to the game like you already won it.
Probably the biggest thing is like just always putting things in perspective, right? At one point, she didn't know if she was gonna make it through life, right? So a mistake in goal, that might lead to the other team scoring. I think she probably has the ability inside of her to go, okay, I need to learn from that, and it's not the end of the world.
Is it a good day?
I'm so excited.
Whoa, nice. She was about 3 months old when the doctors came and told us that she had 2 options.
Caroline was diagnosed with Cosman syndrome.
Basically, her bone marrow wasn't creating the white blood cells, so she had 0 white blood cells to fight a bacterial infection.
The first option was she's going to have to go in for an immediate bone marrow transplant. The second option was to use a drug called Neupogen, and that Neupogen would force the bone marrow to mature the white cells. It caused a lot of bone pain. It would leave a knot in her arm, and she had to have that shot every single night, and it worked.
My little 5-year-old.
After 5 years of shots, Caroline's white blood cells started to deform. Doctors were concerned and told the family it was time for a transplant. But before that, she needed 2 weeks of chemotherapy.
This is
Viraconazole.
that helps me not get viruses.
When people would come to visit, she would put on a different wig, and she liked the red. I think the red one ended up being her favorite.
I love your hair. We should do this permanently. Yeah?
Caroline always talked about her donor as my prince. It turned out that her match was a 19-year-old boy who just signed up at his church.
That 19-year-old was Eduardo Dombrowski, and his selfless act set the example for Caroline, who is doing the same thing today.
If he hadn't stepped up, where would I be right now? Would I be here right now?
She's now a huge advocate for the bone marrow transplant registry. If it's not soccer, it's signups to reach her goal of 1,000 potential donors.
I'm determined to get 1,000. Like, I'm not gonna stop spreading it until I hit 1,000, and when I hit 1,000, I'll go for more.
Caroline, just let me say, you're just an amazing girl, and I feel very lucky and fortunate to be your dad.
Love you.
Congratulations.
Hey, high school.